Hello, blessed souls. I thought, since we are in full fire energy, let's start with a nice smudging. Imagine that this is you and your home, your car, whatever it shall be or will be. Thank you, Spirit, for the cleansing. Blessed new moon in Aries, my beautiful friends. In front of us today is a brand new deck from one of our tribe members, Jessica. I have the original Moonology, but I've wanted this deck ever since I saw it come out. And I've tried to buy it many times, and Spirit's been like, nope, it'll come when it's meant to. And the fact that she sent this and it arrived just a few days before the new moon in Aries, I was like, it's like a no-brainer. I mean, I did check with Spirit just to make sure, but yeah. And you know how I like to do like an unboxing and unveiling thing, this was very different. I did not feel pulled to do that at all. In fact, I felt pulled to put the package under the altar and let it sit for a while, which I do that with all my packages. Because so many people, so much energy has, I don't know if you guys do that with packages and mail, always smudge them. If I don't feel like smudging at the time, then I put like my selenite crystal on it or something, or next to it, or, because it's energy is such a huge part of us. I mean, we are literally all energy. So there's so many things that are happening right now that's what they're banking on. They're banking on this scattered energy. You may have heard this from other light workers that we are in an energy war. Some people are saying we're in a spiritual war, but it's really energy. Who's got the most energy? Lots of things have been coming up for me, so much. But before we get into this, I have to tell you about my visitor last night. So yesterday was actually the new moon in Aries on Saturday. Today is Sunday. But from the time I woke up, it felt like the more I was trying to put this reading together, the more I just couldn't get it together. And then I just happened to be outside when I saw that my landlord had pulled up, and long story short, he needed help with a few things. I ended up helping him, and I ended up mowing grass for a little while, but it was so nice outside. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take advantage of this weather. It's just beautiful. I got a little sunshine on my face, which was nice, and it seemed like the more the day went on, the more I just was like, oh, this isn't going to happen today, is it? And they're like, no. And I was like, why? Because sometimes I'm like, because in my mind, it's like a celebration. Yay! It's finally here. We're fully in the zodiac year. You know what I mean? No more Pisces lingering from the past of the last zodiac year. You know what I mean? It's like, even though I know the moon has its own and whatever, it's like, there's something really powerful about when Aries comes into Aries. It does kind of feel, especially for us in the Northern Hemisphere, the spring, it's like, oh, it's like, spring comes, and it's like all these things are happening, all these new beginnings, all these exciting moments. So we start manifesting, we start getting excited. But when you're coming out of winter, it's a little difficult. I've said this for years. I've lived in warm climates for many years, so I know what it's like to come out of the holidays and whatever. And it's like, even though I'd be living in 85-degree temperatures in January, it still felt like that January feeling because it's energy. So a lot of people are, it's the holidays are over, and the end of the year is over, and people are like, they just want to be quiet. They just want to get still. And it's a very interesting time. So when we're coming into the newness, it takes a minute to kind of slough off that energy, to slough off that, The funny thing is I still had energy, even though I did all that with him, working on the property. It was really fun, actually. And And he's a really good teacher. He's such a good teacher. He taught me how to use this. He's like, this is like $1,000 lawnmower. And he's like, I just want to, show you how to use it. And I was like, no, please. I'm like, I don't want to be responsible. But even after all of that, it's like every little thing that I wanted to do, it was like something else. So I'm not joking. I start pulling things off of here to clean the altar. I'm like, I'm going to do new moon altar. Even though I just did a new one for spring, I was like, I'm going to do a new one for this. And all of a sudden I look down, I'm like, what the fuck? And let me tell you, living in the sticks and living off grid and all that kind of stuff, you get used to critters and you learn how to do critter control and all that. Now, about a week or so ago, I started to notice that certain things really needed my attention. And I was like, fuck it. I'll wait till, spring, the beginning of spring and new moon in Aries, and then I'll do it. No. Spirit sent little mice into my house. And thank goddess, I do like pay laser detail attention to things in my house because I noticed it. I didn't notice it like when I woke up. I didn't notice it when I was like doing chores and things like that. But I noticed it when I went to put the altar together because that's where I saw their evidence. And oh man, I was so frustrated. And I saw their little feet prints and I was like, oh, you little shit. And at first I was really irritated, but you know what it did? It made me pull everything out. The things that I want to do, I ended up cleaning. And I cleaned everywhere and I spoke to the mice and I said, if you're still in here, I said, maybe you just did this to help me clean up. I'm like, I don't know. But I'm like, if you're still in here, can you please leave? This isn't the right place for you. So after I cleaned, I sprayed and did my peppermint and my cinnamon, what I do every year. But I noticed about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago how early spring was coming. And so that's why I was like, I should probably do it. And I was getting signs from Spirit to do it. And no, I'm not going to do it. But it's okay because I did it. And then by the time I was done with all of that, because I have to pull, it's a tiny home, so I got to pull everything out because I don't want to get this and that and blah, blah, blah. And thank goddess, I searched and searched. They only were in one area. So I think they were literally brought here, just for that. Because since I woke up this morning, I've looked around and I don't see anything. I don't see any sign of them at all. So either they're hiding or they're gone. But, Spirit does these things for us. They bring us these little that we think are a problem, but a lot of times it's not a problem. It's a solution. It's an energy that's, coming in and working with us. So I was bummed thinking like, well, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. And that's okay. I mean, the tribe doesn't care, they're happy to get what they get. Like, I know you guys are like so open and loving and you know what I mean? Like, I've been on other channels where the person, like, especially on large channels, like large subscribers, over 100,000 subscribers, and they'll say things like, oh, I'm sorry I didn't get to that reading. I know I normally do it on that day. And you look in the comments, you're like, yeah, I was really expecting that. And it's like, you know what? You should never expect anything from anybody, even if you're paying like, even if they're like, doing one of those things where they're like a paid subscriber. It's like, we're still human and we support each other. It's your community. The person even said, they're like, I'm sorry I didn't do it yesterday like I normally do. It was like something like that where I'm like, chill, man. I was like, fuck, if you're too concerned about what somebody else is giving you, you need to really check yourself, because it is our own responsibility to bring ourselves happiness, education, whatever that is. If that reading doesn't come out, it's like, and that makes me realize, like, that's why I don't, if you look at my channel, it's like, even when I look at like the views, I still have the same amount of views. Even though we have more subscribers, I still have the same amount of views roughly on the readings. So it's very interesting to me. I still think we're like kind of like a small elite tribe, and I think we'll build in time. But even for now, there's only so many of us that have a certain skill set. And a lot of people haven't fully awoken yet. So anyway, as the day went on, I was really pulled to just chill the fuck out and relax. And so I did. Sorry, I'm getting my heater. And I wanted to watch another season of Project Runway. I'm like, oh, I want to dive into another season of Project Runway. It's really been inspiring me. It's been making me want to design again. So that's cool. But all of a sudden I just heard, no, watch the Transformers. And I did notice at the beginning of the month, every month YouTube has certain free movies out. And so I go and check and see what's new. And then I'll kind of put it in my mind like, oh yeah, that's free this month, because I pay to have no commercials. So for me, it's worth $12 a month. Absolutely. Especially because like I've been binge watching them, and there's like, I think 4 or 5 Transformer movies that are free. I just got through 2 of them. I'm going to watch the other ones today, but it's like, even if I rented them, I think there's going to be 4 that I'll watch today. Even if I rented them, I'm like, it's totally worth the $12. It's like $11.99 a month or something. And then after I watch these 4 movies with no commercials, I still have a month, you know what I mean? Like I still have a month to do that with all my movies, all my readings, all my, so you may want to invest in it. If you're on YouTube, it's honestly worth the investment, honestly. And if you have people in your house, it's $22.99 for up to 5 people. So that means up to 5 people in your house for $23 a month can watch anything on YouTube that's free with no commercials. Totally worth it. Again, it's like renting movies. And then that way, I mean, think about it. It's like you could be watching one movie, somebody can be watching another movie, and you're all, doing your own thing. And yeah, anyway, I really plug it because I think YouTube is wonderful. I love that there's like channels and stuff, but shit eventually gets to YouTube. You know what I mean? It's like TV. You know what I mean? It's like when you were a kid and you had cable. And when I was growing up, only the rich kids had cable. That wasn't a luxury. I was born in 71. So it was when cable came out, it was just, you were Richie. And so our neighbors who are our best friends that lived one house away, we used to just go to their house, like for movie night. They're like, oh, Poltergeist is coming on, and so we'd go over to whoever had the biggest TV, and it was like going to the movies. It was such a cool experience, Ooh, when I looked down, it was 11:55, and that has been coming up almost every day for a long time. So that's our angel number to work with today, 11:55. So I'll get off of that. I mean, I'm not getting paid to say that about YouTube, but I'm saying it because I've been on YouTube without commercials, and I think it's like hell on earth. And I think the commercials everywhere have gotten so out of control, it like makes me sick to my stomach. I feel like it should be regulated. I was trying to read this article the other day, and I'm like, I just couldn't handle the pop-ups. I just fucking got off of it. And I mean, I took it as a sign like not to watch it, but I also felt like that was spirit saying like, this is just how grotesque like things have become, where it's just like, you can't even read an article without like some stimulation. And it's going off the rails. And that's how they're using energy against us, the shadow. That's how they're doing it. They're getting us through the addiction of it, and then they're getting us through like that kind of stuff. So after all that, I'm going to come back to at the end of the night, I was just about to put the curtains up because it was like pretty much dark, but like that dusk where it's like the end of dusk and it's almost nighttime. And I shit you not, you guys, I'm watching this Transformer movie. I'm really getting into it. I'm seeing all these like correlations between angels and Transformers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because Spirit always told me that Transformers were real, so I took it literally, and I was like, oh my gosh, so there's like robot creatures. I'm like, that's so fucking cool. I'm like, I totally believe that. I'm like, I totally believe that. I'm like, why we're humans. I mean, it's ignorant and completely egocentric to like say that that's not true, you know what I mean? But then I got that they were trying to show us that the Transformers were like the angels of the universe, right? Like they're just like us. Like Metatron is kind of like Optimus Prime. Because if you think about it, Megatron is from the Decepticons, and the Decepticons are like, the darkness, the shadow, the evil, the mind, me, greed. But the Autobots, like they're there to help. They're there to, and so it was just really awesome watching them again, because they have an 14. It was 14, 13, and that felt like numbers, maybe even ages. And then I saw 14, 14. So take that forever you want. It could be angel numbers. It could mean something to you. But you may want to watch the Transformers again. They're only free. I don't remember seeing, if they were free on YouTube. I never saw them. You know what I mean? Or if they were, like maybe I didn't catch it or something. But I was really pushed, and today is I think the 29th, I think. Yes. So they'll only be free until end of day 31st, March 31st. They change it every month. They change their free movies. which is kind of fun too, because I feel like it helps me like go with the flow of like what's going on in the universe. It's very interesting. So I'm watching this like really magical, pivotal part of the Transformers where I'm having this download where I'm like, holy shit, that's what you're trying to say. Drink some water. That the angels, it was like, and it's a little corny and cheesy. I'm not going to lie. It's a little corny and cheesy. You know, when they have Optimus Prime talk, he's like, and that's why we are the, you know, the guardians of the galaxy. And you know what I mean? Like he really gets into it. I fucking love it. But it's supposed to be, because that's what he's saying is it's about love. There's this scene in the first Transformers movie where Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox are captured, you know, by this secret military, you know, AI, artificial intelligence, but also like kind of like Area 51 kind of thing. But it's like supposed to be like everything, like they're like, because of us, like you have cell phones because of us, you know, because of this creature that we have. And they like, you know, show him like Megatron. And I thought it was so funny because I'm like, Mega is like, you know, like get that, like Megatron, he's a Decepticon. But we've got Optimus Prime, who's more like Metatron. And there's this moment where Optimus Prime like catches these bad guys who have Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, and they've taken him captive without their permission because they want to use him. They're like, why do you have this connection to these aliens, you know, blah blah blah. And Optimus Prime says something like, big wrong move taking the children or something like that. And it's just so protective and so beautiful. And I feel like that's what's happening with us right now with like the Arcturians and the angels. You know, we are so divinely protected. They have so much power over this planet. It's just that this planet has free will. And as humans, we're not allowed, you know, they're not allowed to, 1713, they're not allowed to infringe their energy or their, like, you know what I mean? Like they can't do anything. They're not allowed to do anything unless we ask them to, or it's something that was already agreed upon in our soul contract. Like I've had this feeling for more years than I know and can remember. I've had this feeling that I'm like, I have to do things. And I don't know how to explain it. My whole life I've said to people, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm supposed to do this. I just know I'm supposed to do this, or I know I'm supposed to go here, or I know I'm supposed to move there. Um, and I know that it made people concerned, and I understand in the third dimensional reality, living in 5 states and moving 30 plus times is something's not, they're like, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you just settle down? Why can't, and I'm like, I don't have, and you know, it started out that it's so funny that it started out with my family, like, why can't you, you know, settle down and blah 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 and all this stuff. And then as they got older and I got older, they're like, yeah, you know what, you're smart, you don't have any kids or anything. Then when I wanted to settle down and like go back to school and blah blah blah, that's like when all of my family and friends who had children really early, like either right after high school or like early 20s, that's when their kids were like going to college and they were like living those years again. And they're like, why do you want to, you can go anywhere, you don't have any kids, you don't have to do anything. Like it's like they're just like, why are you staying here? You know? And I'm like, well, which is it? Do I need to get fucking grounded and stay somewhere? Or you want me to, it's like, stop living your life through me. Go live your own damn life. Like I'm living mine and I don't know why. Now I know why, but most of my life, like I really didn't know why. I was like, I wish I fucking knew. I'm like, don't you think I wanted quote unquote be normal? Don't you think I just want to live a normal life? But I don't have a normal life. I'm not fucking quote unquote normal. I will never be normal. I'm an earth angel and this is my job. And I had to live through multiple, you know, visions and lifetimes of being human, so that I could be this person who I'm meant to be now. This person who I'm, you know, it's like I had to go through all this. If I wasn't human, if I didn't live these lives, I wouldn't be able to tell these tales. I wouldn't be able to direct these messages from spirit. I wouldn't be able to hold space the way that I do. I feel like the moon's getting neglected, like it wants to go up a little. also while I'm talking to you. I think I may. So it's either a spot I missed yesterday or it's a new spot that I just noticed. I'm like, no, they might be back. But that's okay. That's okay. I didn't get to clean that whole area, so I'll take that as a sign too. But you know, I'm watching this movie. I'm having all of these moments with my life, with my family, just everything, like just breakthrough moments. And at dusk, right in front of my face, right, like I'm going to show you in a second, this huge, and I mean huge owl flew right in front of my fucking window and then flew off into the mountain. So imagine, see where this is. This is where I watch, like my vision is this way, watching like where you guys are here. This is where I watch my phone. I set it up, excuse me, right here. So imagine I'm watching the movie and then you see a massive owl just fly in your face right there. I was like, oh my gosh. Now, interestingly enough, I've got one of my guardians up there and I've got other ones, but this is so funny because this is what was in the window from my friend Jen, who's like amazing artist. Jen Smith, she's from Portland, but like Washington is where she is now. She's in Stevenson, Washington. But anyway, but this was facing this way. I have it here as kind of like my little guardian, you know? So it was kind of interesting. The whole thing was just really interesting. Isn't that interesting? So, you know, it's like in those moments where you're not sure or you're like, just don't doubt it. Don't listen, like listen to what Spirit's saying. Whatever gifts that you have, it's time to really work on them. Like if astrology comes easy to you, work on astrology. If making clothes comes easy to you and you love it, make clothes. If writing comes easy to you and you love it, do it. When this deck came in, I was so excited because I believe now in this full Aries energy. Aries is not only the beginning of the zodiac, but it's fire energy. And it's perfect to have fire energy coming out of the slumber of winter. I mean, it's so freaking helpful. It's really, 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 really helpful. Which is why I think too, why in the Northern Hemisphere, why Sagittarius, another fire, is at the end, you know, of the year to kind of get people one last little thing under our bums, right before, you know, the big holiday rush, because there's so many different holidays that are celebrated towards the end of the year. So work with owl spirit medicine for sure. The ant keeps coming up. You might want to work with the mice too. Maybe you're having a hard time like letting go of things. Maybe you're hoarding things. Hoarding is a big thing for our energy, for people who work with the light and spirit, for all different reasons. So don't shame yourself. I feel like almost every light worker I've ever met, except for the ones who are like, you know, completely like live with nothing, you know what I mean? They're more like monks. But for those who kind of live in the third dimensional reality, existing in the fifth dimensional, emotional, you know, mental, spiritual, all that reality, have some type of like, I don't care if you know, collect like, you have like 300 fucking thimbles, you know what I mean? It's like all of us almost have like one little thing. Feel free to comment below if you're brave enough to share your story and say, oh my gosh, you know, or do you collect things in the guise of like, oh, it's my job, or oh, it's my business, oh, it's my, you know what I mean? But truthfully, right? You know what I mean? It's like, well, because I feel like this spring, they really want us to do some deep spring cleaning. When I looked down, it was 2424, another angel number. If you're new here, when I call out numbers, that's for you to look up, or it might mean something to you, you know, because 2424 is also 66. So it could be you're 66. It could be, you know, you're 42 because 24 is a mirror of 42 is a mirror of 24. I mean, there's just so many things, but these are the little signs and synchronicities that they want us to look at and stop ignoring. Because I'm hearing from spirit that some of you are, it's okay, you know, if you're in the dark night of the soul or shadow, that's okay. But just remember when you're there, like who you still are. You don't, let's put it this way. I saw this thing recently, and if spirit draws me to, I'll post it on this channel on the shorts or something. But, you know, it said something, I'm paraphrasing, but it said something about, oh yeah, you can love yourself when you're a ballin' badass, right? Like everything's going your way, everything's awesome, you're feeling great. They're like, but the real test of true love and loving yourself, true love, is loving yourself when you're at your lowest, when you're at your depressed, your weakness, your anxiety, whatever it is, when you're in the muggle, when you get lost in the muggle and you forget who you are. If you weren't meant to do that, you would never be a muggle in this life. You know what I mean? Like, not all of us were born this way. I can count on one hand the people that I've met who are light workers, angels, witches, whatever you align with label, that were born into it. The last shaman that I walked with for 2 years, she was born into it. She was third generation that, like, when she was alive, like her mother and her grandmother were brujas. Like they were old school fucking witches. But that's not everybody. That's very, very rare. We chose these hard, difficult paths, these lives, these relationships, children, you know, because so many of you, you know, a lot of you, we literally connected through people because of your children. I don't know if one of our tribe members, I don't know if she's still with us and still watches these, but I remember the first time my friend told me about her, I said, yes, I'm like, you know, definitely give her my information. And that's when I was really like waking up to my gifts. And I just knew with every fiber of my being that I had to talk to this woman. And when I was talking to her, I brought up her daughter and she was just like, yes, yes, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, my daughter's autistic. She doesn't speak, you know, she's 9. And drink some water. And long story short, I said, well, we can do a reading where it's just like, you know, for her, because, you know, she had other children and other things going on in her life, but 27, which is also 9. But I remember when we were going to do a session with her and her daughter, and we did it over the phone. And she said, never in her lifetime have I been able to just, she's like, she got ready and like was waiting on the couch. She's like, how did she know? I'm like, well, you told her. And she's like, no, I know, but like, no. She's like, you don't understand. I'm like, no, I understand. I said, I knew from the second my friend told me about you, I said, I knew I had to connect with her. And so the whole session was me talking to her daughter, but her daughter doesn't speak. And that's when I was like, okay, I was put here to do something way more profound than just like, oh, I don't know if it's going to call you. You know what I mean? Like, and no offense, like, that's okay. Like, we all do those readings, right? Like, I still do it too, right? Where I'm like, relationship readings, you know, what's going to happen? Are they going to come back? But this is different. This was when I started to realize like that my gifts were on a much deeper level. And speaking of, maybe I'm sharing this with you because you're meant to pass my information on to them. And if you are, all my information is on this channel, and then in the description box, they can email me. And I work with, you know, I work on a sliding scale, especially when it comes to children. So if you're having difficulty with your children or something, or if there's something like that, just know that I do that. Or an elder, I just heard an elder, someone who's dealing with dementia, you know. But anyway, wow, that was interesting. Okay, so before we pull cards, I would really like to take a moment and do some energy healing. And I want to ask Spirit some questions. Hold on one second. Okay. So we're going to do an energy healing. I'm going to use some bells, so watch your ears. I'm picking up my bell right now. You may want to turn it down just for a minute if it's too loud. Some people like it because it's like, you know, but I go at the I have caliber, sound cal, whatever. I go at what spirit has my hand do. So I'm just going to put it above this right now. So take in some deep breaths. And if you're driving, pull over. If you're somewhere, you know, hopefully by now you're somewhere quiet, but if you can, pause this and go somewhere where you can get quiet. We're going to do a little bit of healing energy before we pop into pulling cards for our manifestation for the new moon in Aries. So take in some deep breaths, however feels good to you. Get grounded and quiet and centered. Bells are coming in. Thank you, Spirit. I call upon the healing energies of the universe. I call upon the Reiki energy. Thank you for healing us from the inside out and the outside in. Thank you, Spirit, for healing within, without. We let go, 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 we let go. Lower chakra. Thank you, Spirit, for helping us to balance and clear our chakras and auric field of that which no longer serves our greatest and highest good. We pull out all of the old energy that no longer serve the greatest and highest good of each soul and the collective. And we burn it up between our hands and we say thank you with grace and gratitude back into the earth, back into the ether, back into love, back into light. We thank the shadow and the darkness for giving all the fright, because without you, we could not grow. And we could not sow the seeds that we need to plant this spring. Welcome, new moon in Aries. Welcome, Aries energy. As within, as without, you are protected without a doubt. Let it go, let it bleed. Cry your tears and sow your seeds. Say goodbye to all that was, so all that is can be yours. Welcome to our reading. Woo, 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 my eyes need to adjust. Okay, when I looked down, it was 34:43, which is 34 and 43 are each other's mirrors. Oh my gosh, which are also 7/7. If you need a few more minutes, that's okay. You can pause the video, take a few more minutes. You know, I started to cry a little bit, so I feel like some of you really needed to release that. I just let Spirit filter in a healing, so wherever that came from. And I'm also still like kind of squashing it out. You know, I watch people who do Reiki and like these light languages. I have to be honest with you guys. This is going to be a tough one to hear, but I want you to know that some of you, I don't know, this could be for one person, for many, but for some of you, there's at least one person, but I feel like there's more, but there's at least one person that you're watching that on the outside, like maybe they're like blonde and dewy and blue eyes, and they look very angelic, and you know, you go to them for Reiki healing and you're like, oh, I love them. Oh my gosh, I love that person. Yeah. I meant to tell you that shadow comes in all forms. So yeah. Okay. And use discernment and use your intuition to decide whether or not this person's right for you. And if you don't know, then you go through your people that you watch on whatever channels you watch. Maybe it's on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But go through with your pendulum. And you can make a pendulum if you don't have one. There are so many places that you can find to make one. I've been thinking about doing something. Hey, if you guys are interested, let me know if you want me to start teaching any classes. I've been thinking I want to do more stuff on the channel. And Spirit's been giving me a lot of different things, but I feel scrambled. So I feel like maybe I'm meant to throw out, like, for you guys. Is there anything that you'd really like to work on right now that you'd like, Spirit, like, you know, Reiki or pendulums, or, you know, like any tutorials? Or is there a reading topic that you'd really like Spirit for us to do, whether for the tribe or a pick a reading? I'm going to do a pick a reading with this deck as well. But I definitely felt like I was meant to do a tribe reading with this one. I feel also with the new moons, it's kind of like it's a new moon cycle, and y'all know I'm the moon. I used to be the moon medium, or what was my handle? Oh my gosh, that's so sad. But you know, these kind of readings that we pull in together, it's for us. It's almost like if we all lived in the same area, you would just come over. You know what I mean? I'd be like, you guys, let's do a new moon. You know, I wish we all lived closer, you know what I mean? But we're all in push pins where we are all over the world. I mean, Jessica, who gave us this deck, you know, she's in Nevada, and Anna, who gives a lot to this channel as well. I mean, she's in England. You know what I mean? So it's like you just never, and I've never met either one of them in person, and they're two of my closest friends. That's when you know you are connected. That's community, you know? So very, very interesting. And we are all teachers and leaders in our own right. We all have a path and a purpose to uphold and fulfill. And this is how this is how we do it. But I'm feeling, you know, for you guys, I'm literally like feeling that kind of, you know, energy of really bringing in the healing, the meditation, you know what I mean? Like there are so many things that we all each individually need to work on now. And with that being said, I'm going to pull the deck. I feel like they were going to have me go in another direction, and then it like kind of like my mind went blank. So either we're going to come back around to that, or so. All right. I have to tell you, I already looked at this deck. Like I said at the beginning, I had to. But now I'm so glad I did, because it's like, you know, when you get the deck and it's so stiff, it's literally so stiff that you could barely, like, whatever. This one already has like a bend in it a little bit. That's how much I did the oil. I oiled them down. So you might see some shininess on the cards. I oiled them down. I shuffled the crap out of them. I shuffled them for, I don't know, a good hour plus. I ended up doing a reading for me and, well, basically for me, but it's a whole long story. But I ended up doing this reading and I recorded it. 3939. That might be an angel number 2. You guys just might be seeing these numbers. That's why it's really important that they have me to call them out. Because it's like a wink wink from spirit that you're on the right track. But it was almost an hour long and I had already been working on the deck before that. So I was like, wow. I'm like, I worked on that deck for like an hour. I'm like, that's awesome. But sometimes these kind of decks, they need to be broken in because they're so stuck together, the cards. I'm going to give it like another good shuffle while we're here. That's why it's a little bendy, because I did like, I shuffle them like a card, but because I have such tiny hands, it kind of takes a minute. I'm starting to think that the mice just moved locations, because now I'm seeing, I'm like, damn it. It's all right. It's all right. You know, all these things happen for a reason. They happen for a reason. And I know people are like, ew, you have mice. It's like, yes, if you, I mean, you see where I live. I'm like, yes, I have mice. No matter how much I put in like little, I mean, they can gnaw through things. They can, I mean, we've had this RV for, I don't know, almost 2.5 years, because we, you know, lived in the cabin for like 4 months. But Alder has gone through, we have gone through everything. So if they got in, they chewed their way in. So that happens sometimes. And the weather, you know, when the weather changes, like right now, they're just looking for food probably, because there's not a lot of food to find out. Okay, so this fell on the ground and I'm not sure what's going on, because I just tried to pick it up again and it like literally flew out of my hand again to the ground. So I'm going to take this as, they won't let me look at it, but I'm just wiping it off. Okay, so I'm going to put it there. Okay, so I don't know, Spirit, if that's our message or not, and you'll let us know. But either way, isn't it pretty? That's the back of the card. Isn't it a beautiful deck? Thank you so much, Jessica. The tribe thanks you. And if you'd like to donate any decks to the tribe, my Amazon wish list is in the description box. There's a link and it goes straight to it. It's so easy too, because all you have to do is like, you don't even have to put in my address or anything. It's just like, you go into the wish list and then you place your order and they send everything to me, which is really, really nice. And if you're somebody who has like Amazon Prime, it wouldn't even cost anything for shipping, you know? So if you're somebody who has that, but also I have decks on there. There's a lot of decks on the list, and we have decks that are $9.99, and we have decks that are, I think the most expensive deck in there is like $54 or $65. It's kind of pricey. It's kind of like when you go, it's kind of like when you're, you know, you're registering for like a shower, wedding, or baby or something like that, and you're going around and you're like, I would never buy this, but fuck it, somebody else might buy it for me. You know what I mean? And you're just like, it's like your wish list. That's exactly what it is. So some of those, I don't expect anyone to spend that much money on exact. It's kind of like if you have it and you want to, and you're like, oh yeah, because some of the decks I have on the wish list, you know, I don't know how they do it, but they're people who make their own decks, like kind of like an Etsy, and that's why they're more expensive. You know, if they're not mass produced through a company, then they're more expensive because they have to like pay to have them made. So, but somehow they got linked into Amazon. Good for them, you know, because they get seen more. And I don't know what's going to happen with Amazon, because I know everybody's been saying like, you know, Bezos is the devil and all that stuff, and that we should boycott them and not use it. But at the same time, I've asked Spirit several times if I should get off of Amazon, and they have told me no. They said they'll tell me when. Okay, I think that's it. All right, that's it. They told me they'd tell me when. So for now, if you feel good about it, send some to the tribe. But yeah, there's a lot on there. A lot of really fun ones. I mean, they're all fun. They're all cool. That's why I said I was so excited when I got this one, because everyone on there is one I wanted, but there's definitely like some in the top 10 that I'm like, that I want more. And this was in my top like 3. I've wanted this deck for a very long time. The one I really want now is the new Christina Ricci deck. I just put it on the wish list, so if anybody wants to get it, it's the tarot deck that Christina Ricci made, who's the, you know, I wouldn't say the original Wednesday Addams, but because the original Wednesday Addams was a long time ago, but before Wednesday, that Wednesday the Wednesday Now, Jenna Ortega, we had Christina Ricci. And of course, you know, she was in Casper and Mermaids, and we love Christina Ricci. So I've always thought she was fucking witchy as hell. And so I saw her on a talk show, and I'm like, she has a new deck. And it's interesting. And I'm like, dude, you don't create a fucking tarot deck and just to be like, oh yeah, it's just fun. I just kind of play with it. I'm like, oh, come on. But anyway, it's got like cats, and it's just really, it looks really cool and really fun. But it's more in the mid range. I think it's like 25 or 26. And I'm sorry that I live in a state that has high fucking tax. I'm sorry that you have to pay that. I'm not even joking or kidding around. I've actually been looking into moving back to Oregon. I'm putting a little thing out there. So I don't know if it's meant to be, it will be, but Oregon has no sales tax. And I always loved that. But also, I don't know. I love living up here, but I'm feeling this pull really strong to go to Oregon. So I don't know if it's on a vacation or if I'm meant to move back there, but anyway, I'll keep you guys posted. Oh, and I can tell you before we pull the cards, I can tell you this, that for some of you, I know I was a little cryptic and told you I was working on something, and I would let you know. And okay, so now I'm letting you know. I thought it was going to be 3 weeks, but it's even sooner. It didn't work out, but it's okay because I made an amazing connection, and I believe that that's what all was meant to happen. So long story short, there was this really magical, spiritual, kind of like a retreat center on this woman's land off grid, 20 acres on a river in Southern Oregon, just like super, super magical, but it's private. Nobody knows about it. It's not like on Airbnb. You can't just like rent it. It's just like through word of mouth. And she's been there like 40 years. She's in her late 80s, this woman. And the way that the breadcrumbs put themselves out to me, I can't even tell you how intensely amazing. And I was like, come on. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, seriously, like, if this isn't meant to be, I don't know why this happened, because I was just minding my own business late at night, and I was like actually getting ready to like go to bed. I was finishing up a show, and I heard go on Craigslist, and I was like, okay. And as you know, where we're living, it's beautiful, but it's right on the freeway. So I know we're not meant to stay here because it's just, I mean, I just don't know how. The only way we could stay here is to get in the summer is to get air conditioning, because I'm only dealing with this because my windows are closed. There's no way I'll be able to handle it. I just know me, and it'll be miserable. And like the area that we're in is super touristy, and I can't even imagine summer here. I think feel like I was in hell, energetically, sound wise, like all the way around. So I feel like it's a holding pattern. And I'll talk more about that in another episode. But anyway, so this area, like I've wanted to live in that area or at least visit that area forever. So I thought, this must be it. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. And I read this ad. It was very small. It said, this is a unique opportunity, you know, blah, 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 blah. And it was to help be a caretaker of the place. So I reached out to Alder, and I was just like, I know you're kind of like not sure, you know, what you want right now or where you want to be. I'm like, but this came into my orbit, and I'm like, remember when we wanted to live down there? I'm like, would you be interested, you know? And he's like, yeah, like put it out there, like see what happens. So I put it out there and they messaged me back, and it like just turned into this really awesome connection, super spiritual. It was, let's put it this way, we both were being very like cautious in our wording, right? Because like we didn't really know each other, and you know, she was like trying to, I mean, even the ad only had like 4 or 5 lines, you know what I mean? Like it was very almost like kind of cryptic. And so, but it was when she started to feel more comfortable, and she goes, she's like, have you ever heard the term, she's like, how do I say this? She's like trying to describe our community. She's like, have you ever heard the term light worker? And I just was like, yes. But I didn't instantly tell her about myself, because I've also, you guys have been with me a long time. Whenever we're called to go anywhere, you know, right before I even found her, I said to Spirit, I meditated, and I said, you know, wherever we're meant to go, because when we moved over here, well, basically he moved me over here. We're still not living together, but when he moved me over here, I said, you know, I don't know where I'm meant to go, you're meant to go, or what's meant to be, but, you know, I said, I'm just going to put it out into the universe and just say wherever we're most needed. And so that's what I did. I just put out, I said, wherever we're most needed. And, like, I think I saw the ad the next day, you know, that kind of thing. That's how I always know, because I put it out there and I'm always like, you know, show me, you know, show me the breadcrumbs, show me, you know, or just give it all. Sometimes they'll just like give it to me right up front and I'm like, oh, cool, you know. But this, I would have never found that on my own, because why would I be looking in a Craigslist ad that's for something that's 8 hours away from where I live? You know what I mean? Like, that was like not an accident. And it literally like checked every fucking bell and whistle. It was like the most beautiful. It was a work trade, and it was perfect because the neighbors were looking for a caretaker as well. And it was like, you know, they didn't live in the state. It was an investment property that they were going to build on. And because she had had her property for so long, like she was kind of grandfathered in from like 40 years ago or something. So it's all like national parks and stuff around her. So I mean, it was seriously like it was like my dream job. It was my dream job in terms of being a caretaker. And the people next door were looking for someone too. So basically, we'd be in charge of like 120 acres, but you should have seen the fucking house we were going to get. And it was beautiful on this river. I mean, it was all magical. And we went through these interview processes, and then the last one was we were going down there, 5111. We were going down to meet them like in person. Like we'd had, you know, the first initial call, then we had another like, you know, meeting on the phone. Like Alder came over, we all talked. It was really awesome. And she really loved us, even though all these other people applied and stuff. She was like, you know, you guys are like my favorite. But I never told her I was a medium. I never, I told her we were spiritual. I told her that we, you know, meditated and things like that. I sent her a link to our ad that we had up before, so she can kind of see like who we are and what we do and all that. It was awesome. And then she was like, well, I got to interview all these people, and then, you know, we'll let you know. So basically we beat out everybody else. We were going down to meet them. We were literally like going back and forth with the dates that we were going to go in April. It was all set up. We were so freaking excited. And then after we like cemented everything, or were about to cement everything, she messaged back and she was just like, I'm so sorry, you know, blah, blah, blah. She's like, but they have a very huge community, like spiritual community. I mean, these women are like, you know, the woman that we were going to be helping take care of her property was in her late 80s, but still sharp as a tack, still like totally like, you know, connected, you know, but she couldn't do certain things anymore. Like, it was so funny. Her friend was like, her friend goes, yeah, she can't lift those propane tanks anymore. And I'm like, I can't believe she was still lifting them. I'm like, I'm in my 50s and I still have a hard time lifting, you know, the, you know, smaller ones or whatever. So anyway, it was a real big bummer. But apparently somebody from their community heard about that she was looking, and apparently I don't know the story, if they had worked for her before or something, but basically they were like family, and they were going to be moving back to the area, and they didn't know she was looking. And so it all kind of happened, and she was just like, I already know them, like I feel comfortable, you know what I mean? And I get it. I'm like, of course, you know, you're in your late 80s, you want to come, even though, you know, Alder and I are really awesome, you know, beings and stuff, it's like still, it's just more soothing to have somebody you actually know, like to have people that you actually know, and they know you and they know the property, and you know what I mean? Like that's I totally understand. So we weren't upset. In fact, afterwards, I sent links to my channels and sent an email and told them who and what I was, and that I don't tell people right away because I've been taken advantage of in other work trade situations for my gifts, and you know, especially like with Reiki and stuff. And I said then it was always an imbalance of energy, but I would love to keep in contact if they would like to keep in contact. And then I thought, and here we are. I was like, and then after I told Alder, he was bummed too, because we were like, holy shit. I go, it's finally our turn, dude. It's finally our turn. And I was so excited. And, you know, but but honestly, I was also at the same time really okay, because I knew with every fiber of my being, like, we were meant to meet them. And then I said to him, I go, I'm bummed, but you know what the cool thing is? I go, I bet we could go stay there now. And now I know what the property looks like. It's magical. It's in the area I always wanted to travel to. So I was like, oh my gosh, I would rather give my money to this woman who's like, you know what I mean? Like, her living, she makes her living on her cabins. So, you know, she put all of her life into this. I mean, just, it's so magical, you guys. It's like solar, and I mean, it's magical. Like this, she's got like the water fusion thing, you know what I mean? Like, just really cool. I mean, it really was cool. But it was interesting because once we, you know, had this great conversation afterwards, she was like, thank you for being so understanding. You're so kind. That's so, I was really, you know, of course, because you're like, oh, great. Now I gotta go tell these people that, like, they're not going to get it. That sucks, you know? But I said, no, we're just open. I said, we were just meant to meet, and, you know, from one fellow light worker to another. But then what really got me is that after I told Alder, you know, we were in the shadow of, you know, we were still, it was this past week, right? So we were still, it was before the solar eclipse happened, still heavy into the eclipse energy, heavy into the Mercury retrograde energy. And even though Mercury, because Alder's a triple Gemini, usually, like, you know, is his friend, Mercury retrograde. It was kind of interesting because I could see, like, you know, certain things in his life were fine, but then other things I could totally tell were like kind of retrograding, we're kind of like going back, you know what I mean? And so he said, well, I said, well, do you want me to keep looking, or do you want me to, I'm like, what do you want me to do? You know, because one of the reasons why we even looked is we had this great talk together that was becoming more open to us reconciling, or at least talking about, you know, moving forward and all this stuff. And he was like, you know, if you want to move on your own, he's like, that's fine. He's like, you know, whatever. And he was just so, like, what's the word, obtuse, you know, like, he was just very, I'm like, what? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I think you need to go away. And I think I need to go away. And because my shadow wanted to come out and be like, are we back here again? Like, we just had this talk. And then I realized, yes, we are. Because all of us are. We're not fully out of this shadow. We're not fully out of this darkness. And I said, why would you even say yes to it if you don't even know for sure if you want to do it? But I know that's not him. You know what I mean? I know that's his shadow, because I know if she called tomorrow and said they changed their mind, he'd be like, oh my God, let's do it. He got so excited. The more we started talking about it, he got so excited. And I was like, yeah, dude, because that's more him. That's who he really is. You know, but he's gotten so sunken in, you know, where we live in, you know, the Olympic Peninsula. It's like this area is where he grew up, essentially. You know, his mom and his dad, both of his parents are like from this area. And so he's reconnected with people, and he's, you know, almost everybody he deals with are men, except for he's got like, I think 4 or 5 female clients up here. But for the most part, they're men, and they're older men. And so it's just been very interesting. While the divine masculine has been like all over the place, he has been surrounded by divine masculine, and he had a lot of issues with his father. So it's just so interesting. And I mean, I said to him, I go, I feel like we're meant to leave here, because I feel like we got what we needed, you know what I mean? And now I feel like we're meant to go somewhere else. But then I realized this past week, I'm like, no, he's still got stuff to sort out. So whatever is meant to be will be, but I have hope for us. I really do. I really do think Alder and I will reconcile eventually, because I think we are twin flames, and I think that we are meant to continue forward. And even though I wanted to, like, because after that, I like literally, it was interesting. I went from being like really sad and my balloon completely deflating to being like, well, fuck you, dude. Like, you know, I didn't say that to him, but like when he left, I cried, and I was just like, oh my God, I thought we were like, Spirit, I don't understand. I thought we were like on our way of like reconnecting. And they're like, it's not a light switch moment. It's gonna take time. He's been in the dark, 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 dark for months. He's been gone for like 9 months. And they're like, it's going to take a minute for him to pull out of it. They're like, after eclipse season, after Mercury goes direct, they're like, everybody's going to start to feel lighter. So I shared my whole life with you to say that, you know, if you're going through something similar, you're not alone, and it is going to get better. It's just that we're at the end of it, and it's not a light switch moment. And, you know, we've discussed this before, that every season, there's 4 seasons, and every season has 3 months in it. And I always look at it as like 3, like kind of like this, and like cycles, right? Because the first month, we're still an overlap from the month, you know, like, right? Like, so March, it's like March 20th, right? Spring equinox. But then we're going to need till like April 20th to get to like where we're fully in the spring energy. Same for our Southern Hemisphere family going into the fall, right? And sinking in. And then once we finally get into that energy, it's the same thing. We're taking that energy with us to the next cycle, which will be summer, you know. But for right now, I feel like we're all meant to take that middle, or take that first month to just like align and get in there. I mean, shit, it's only been a week, you know, a little over a week. It's been like a week and a half since we switched seasons. So give yourself a break, give yourself some time, call on the fire energy of Aries when you need it. Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to share, Spirit? Or is there any channelings? Would you like me to share anything else before we go into the cards? Are we going to use all 3 of those cards for this reading? Because I wasn't sure. Is this meant for the group? Is this for a shorts? Ooh, so you'll have to stay tuned. I don't know what it is either. So that's for the shorts. I'm going to put that over to the side. Do you want me to put that in the reading at all? Okay. Oh, fun. Okay. So these are the energies that they want us to work with. Ooh, interesting. This is upside down too. So last quarter moon in Leo, lighten up. Yes, because everything's been so fucking serious. It's been so serious lately. And of course, and you know, and we kind of need it, right? Because people aren't taking things seriously. People aren't like, you know, it's like this is no joke. Like what we're going through is nothing like the earth has ever, ever, ever seen. So we have a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of mixed energy, a lot of sadness, a lot of depression. Give yourself some time. Just please give yourself some time. I think it's in reverse. This is what the vibe I got from Spirit. The reason why it's in reverse is, do you see how it's like halfway there? I feel like what they're trying to say is that we had the new moon in Aries on Saturday. You know what? I just realized I forgot to grab my calendar. Hold on. Let me grab it. Drink some water. Okay. So, right. So the new moon in Aries was yesterday. And now the first quarter moon is going to be Friday. Wow. That's they don't happen like that a lot. I mean, they go by a week, right? So that's really fucking interesting. So 29th, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's only 6 days, and technically 5, because if the new moon's on Saturday and the first quarter moon's on Friday, then that means, unless my calendar is misprinted, that means there's only 5 days in between. Wow, that's really interesting. So Tuesday's also April Fool's Day. I don't know why, but they want me to point that out. And Mercury's going retrograde on April 7th. So let's just talk a little bit about the month. So we got April Fool's Day on the 1st. The 4th is the first quarter moon. The 7th, Mercury goes direct. The 12th is the pink full moon. It's the full moon in Libra. It's also a micro moon, which means it's like the furthest away from the earth. And I don't know why, but they want me to say that it's at its peak at 8:22 p.m. Now, when they have me write that down, I'm pretty sure that's Pacific Standard Time. So look it up on your own. But I feel like that for some of us, like we're meant to do ritual at the peak. This full moon is very potent. So, and we're in the Aries energy. So, you know, Libra is an air sign and we're in the fire moon. And when fire and air get together, we all know that can go in any direction. So they call it the pink moon because that's when the flowers first start to show, right? Like a sign of color that spring has really arrived. So take that to mean whatever it means. And then Palm Sunday on the 13th, Good Friday on the 18th. Maybe I'm telling you because you have family that celebrates that. I don't know why, but I don't normally say that. Then the third quarter moon is on the 20th on Easter Sunday. So the third quarter moon's on Easter Sunday. Interesting. Then Easter Monday in Canada is on the 21st. Earth Day is on the 22nd. Professional Administrative Day is the 23rd. National Arbor Day is the 25th. And then the new moon in Taurus is at the end of the month on the 27th. There's some good grounding energy. So it's going to be a whopper. I feel like the next 4 weeks are going to be super intense, especially having the first quarter moon be so soon after the new moon in Aries is very, very, very interesting. Because then between the full moon and the third quarter moon is full 7 days. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's a full 7 days between the first quarter moon and the full moon. There's a full 7 days between the full moon and the third quarter moon. And then there's 6 days between the third quarter moon. I mean, am I just noticing this? Because I don't feel like, you know, I've been doing moon readings forever. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they're always like a week apart or some, maybe I don't know. This is very interesting. I just don't remember them being this close together before with the new moon and the first quarter moon. And I guess because I'm not an astrologer, there's a part of me that's wondering if that means anything. So I guess I'll get back to you, or please feel free to comment below if they're, you know, I don't know. That's interesting. Okay. So I feel like that's what they're trying to say. So I feel like things are going to start to lighten up. Let's see what the book has to say. I thought we were going to like read the book and like get into all that, and but I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling like we're meant to do that. Maybe certain decks are just like, it's unnecessary. You know what I mean? So, oh, last. Okay, right, because I said first quarter, but it's last quarter. Yeah, there's something going on with that too, with the last quarter. Maybe it's just this whole month. So 114 is the page that it's on. It says, what's happening for you right now can turn out well, but you need to find a balance between the light and the dark of the situation. Get in touch with some quote-unquote lighter and happier feelings to clear away any energetic debris that may have grown out of your fears. That said, this isn't about glossing over any dramas and pretending all is well if it isn't. A positive attitude towards life now will help clear away any upsets. So because this is a manifesting deck, we're going to, you know, I'm going to let you get some screenshots in because I think it's important. So the manifesting mix says 2 very strong energies are at play here. All the things you fear and your very vitality. Drawing this card suggests you need to lighten up a little. Happy manifesting comes from a happy place. Make a list of your blessings. Okay, so what I just got from Spirit is, yeah, you know, if you're like doing a new moon ritual, like, because I always, you know, push for people to do a new moon ritual, like write down all the things that you need, want, you know, all your dreams, hopes, and wishes. Write them down. It's never outlandish. If you get it within that moon cycle, that means it's meant for you to have it now. If you're not, it doesn't mean never. It just means, you know, maybe not this moon cycle. Sometimes you'll get a wink, wink from Spirit. You know what I mean? You know, I was watching, I don't know why they're having me use this analogy, but I was watching something recently where they were showing how Taylor Swift really does, like, you know, follow her fans or go on fan pages or whatever. And there was this one live where there was this beautiful, beautiful soul, and they were dancing and having a really good time, and they were live on their social media, and they were reading some of the things, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh, blah, 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 and they're like, oh my God, oh my gosh, and they're like yelling, sorry, but they were just like, they're like, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, like they're just like, they couldn't get it out or whatever, and like she was going live and like she was typing stuff, and like you could tell like she was just having fun and laughing, and she was just like injecting like light into their world. And I feel like it's something like that, you know, like, you know, maybe that person had always hoped and dreamed that Taylor would maybe see, oh, I think he said something too, like, oh, I always thought or hoped you'd see one of my videos. I can't believe you're really here, or something like that. You know, that's like a wink, wink from spirit. Keep going. And maybe you won't have something that elaborate, but maybe you will. Believe in the impossible. You know, that's one of, actually from the other Moonology deck, one of the cards is, I don't remember which one exactly, but it's believe in the impossible. And I think it might be the blue moon card. And that's basically what spirit is saying. You know, we need to lighten up. Don't get so wrapped up in the darkness and the shadow, especially because Leo is a fire sign. So I love that the first card that we pull out is affiliated with fire. Now, it might be literal too. Maybe it's the last quarter moon in Leo, you know, like when the new moon, and let's see when that is, because my calendar, I do it by the month, but I can still tell, you know, usually. So it looks like, wow, it looks like the new moon in Leo is, so it's like right after, so it's July, oh, I was looking at the wrong month. Okay, so July 24th, 2025. So maybe from now until July 24th, things are going to start lightening up, you know? And like I said, right now, if you look in the media or whatever, like, it's fucking scary. It's a shit show. We spoke about it earlier. It's like, it's meant to be there. It's meant to be there. They're using their, it's like, if, you know, if it's true that this is an energy war and a spiritual war, then they're going to pull out every fucking stop that they possibly can to scare the shit out of you, to scare the shit out of everybody. Now, think about this for a second. Spirit draws me to look at certain things. And when I see it, it's very interesting to me, because I'm like, okay. Because every time I think that we're waking up more, we're becoming more enlightened or whatever, I'll see some comments somewhere and I'll be like, wow, man, people are just so mean and hateful. Like, what? And like, where does that come from? But I know where that comes from, because I was mean and hateful before too, you know, before I understood the whole process and why we're here and all that stuff. But it was Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, just Colson Baker's his real name, but they just had a baby together. And he said something like, welcome to the world's celestial seed. You know, they believe that they are twin flames and all this, and maybe they are, I don't know. Maybe they were just made to come together and create this baby. You know, she joked that she couldn't, her first marriage, she had 3 sons, and she, you know, always wanted a girl and didn't have one, and now she's got a little girl. Interesting, right? But when I look in the comments, I see people are like mocking. They're like celestial seed. And someone's like, what the fuck does that mean? And someone's like, I don't even want to know. Like, you know, whatever. And just there was this whole thing of people making fun of it and making fun of spirituality. And I was just like, wow. So, you know, I spoke about this. I've been speaking about this because we have to, you know. Did you hear the ducks go by? Hi guys, thanks for stopping by. And work with duck spirit animal medicine. One of the best things from duck spirit medicine I can tell you is like water off a duck's back. You know, if people make fun of you, if people, thank you spirit medicine, thank you ducks. If people want to make fun of you, whatever, let them. If they want to, you know, in the words of Mel Robbins, you know, let them. And somebody said she stole that from somebody else. Well, yeah, of course, I'm sure she did. We all steal things from each other, even if we don't mean to. But this is the time to really stand up and say, like, that you believe in this and you believe in spirit, and, like, you know, to be proud of who you are and stand in your truth. You know, I still have people who come up to me when I use my pendulum. It's like everywhere I live, I use my, oh, hi grandmother. Oh, this spider just came in. Work with the spider spirit medicine too. I knew she wanted to come in here, but she's over there. Hi. Oh, she's like one of my buddies. She's been hanging out with me since Baba died. Sweetheart. It's probably Baba. Hi, Baba. But, you know, people need to see that. They need to see it. Put your magic out there. A lot of us were human before, so we were murdered and killed or tortured or all of the above for our beliefs and for using our magic in public. And they're like, it's not going to happen to you here. Even now, they want people to be afraid. you know, it's like we're supposed to be in America, we're supposed to be freedom of speech, but yet they're putting protesters in jail. That was always, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. When the president now had his people, they fucking ransacked the Capitol building. But, you know, that was all in the name of, you know, democracy. But now when people are fighting for democracy, that's not democracy. You know what I mean? It's like what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. Bullshit. We are one. So from anytime you watch this reading until the last quarter moon in Leo, like things are going to lighten up in your life. Just give it time. And remember that everything happens for a reason, but also one step, one breath, one moment at a time. If you're having anxiety, it's because you're concerned about the future. And if you're having depression, you're concerned about the past. You can't change the past. And honestly, you can't do anything about the future. You're one person. The only thing you can do is yourself. So if you're manifesting something, they're saying to you, stay in the joy of it. Don't put a manifestation out in fear. Don't ever put anything out into the world injected with fear. Put it with love, because that's who you are. So here's our next card. Oh, think it through. New moon in Gemini. Oh, that's interesting. Think it through. Look at those mountains. New moon in Gemini. So because we are so close to the new moon in Gemini, I'm going to take that as they would say, as gospel. I'm going to take that as true, because I don't always feel that way, but this one I do. I love how that all rhymed too. Oh, spirit. I've been wearing a lot of green too. And when my green shirt gets dirty, I wash it, because this is my favorite shirt and it's so comfortable and it's green. And I swear whenever I'm wearing this green shirt, it was like I washed this shirt and then like Jessica's like, hey, I sent you a deck. I just wanted to let you know, you know. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm like, that's so amazing. And in my mind, I was so grateful, because I was like, I always love new decks and things like that. But then in my mind, I was like, but we're going to be moving soon and this and that. I'm like, that's okay. That's okay. You know, because in my mind, I was like, you know, money would have probably been better, but that's okay, because I know that it will show up when it's meant to. I shit you not, like 2 minutes later, she's like, I sent you something through Venmo. I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, thank you for all the readings. Thank you for all the work you do. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, dude, thank you so much. It was so amazing. And, you know, that's how it really fucking works, you guys. And just a few days before that, Alder was like, hey, you know, have you done any work? Like, you know, because I haven't had any money come in a few weeks. And, you know, he was just like, we've got some bills coming up, but my job just got postponed. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to manifest it and it's going to happen. And I did. And I prayed out to spirit and I was just like, if anything, and I didn't send out anything, but just like into meditation, into prayer. And that is really how it works. And then instantly I lit candles and prayers for Jessica, like I do for all you guys anytime you send me anything. And when you guys pray for me, I feel the exchange of energy. I feel your prayers. It doesn't always have to be monetary, because your prayers led to, you know, I even said to Jess, I'm like, oh my gosh, you spoil me. Thank you so much. I'm like, are you sure? And she was like, yes, like things are good in my life. I was blessed with this and that, and I want to move the blessings forward. That's how it fucking works. That's how it works. So we just keep moving the blessings forward. So think it through. New moon in Gemini. Oh, wait. Okay. So there's another page to this. Okay. Sorry. Before we go there. So here's the light. This is from the first card, the last quarter moon in Leo, the lighten up. So manifesting magic. These crystals work especially well for the sign of Leo. Sunstone, carnelian, citrine, rose quartz, aventurine, or Dalmatian jasper. Every single one of those is in this right now. Except for, I think my aventurine, it's here. I just didn't put it in, but it's like on my thing. So that's interesting. Isn't that funny? I love that. So it says, choose one and hold it while you meditate, visualizing a warming orange light swirling around you. Alternatively, keep your crystal close by as you work through your situation, or use 5 or 6 to make a crystal grid. Now, if you don't have crystals and you can't afford them, that's okay. You can still call on these energies, call on sunstone, carnelian, all of them. You can even draw, especially for our artists here who really love to draw. And you don't have to be Picasso to make it, you guys. It's not that hard. You know, because it's not about being perfect. It's about getting the message out. But you can create something. So there's 3, 4, 5. So there's 6 there. So you can create like even a 6-pointed, you know, shape. What is that? Not hexagon. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? And you can write down in one, you know, corner sunstone, then carnelian, and or write them in any way that feels good to you. And then still put your manifestations out into the world. You can imagine the orange light swirling all around you. So the affirmation is, when I forgive myself, I set myself free. Wow, I just got the chills. This is a big one. This is a big one because I was asking Spirit, I was like, you know, and I don't like to talk about my personal relationships too much because, you know, Alder is one of us and he's very special. And I know that I've seen, let's put it this way. He did medicine. He did a medicine ceremony a few weeks ago. That's when we had the breakthrough. Because it was, I literally started to cry because I was like, oh my God, it was like talking to him again. And then we just had some time apart. And when I saw him again, it was just not the same. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And then the time after that, it was just like getting worse again. And I was like, damn it. So I realized, I'm like, you know, it is something that we have to constantly work at. And that's okay because he's where he needs to be. I'm where I need to be. You're where you need to be. But the thing that kept coming up when I was frustrated with him the other day, when I was like, that's why we didn't probably get the fucking job. I'm like, because he doesn't care. I was all mad, and Spirit was like, whoa, 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 don't be so hard on him. He did care. He did want to do that. But this is, it all happened the way it was supposed to. They're like, you're just your ego. And then I realized it was my ego because he wasn't doing it fast enough that I wanted him to, right? And that's like my third dimensional child. You know, if we chose to incarnate as humans here, we are badass motherfuckers. I've said this so many times because it is not easy being human here. And most of us that are in this tribe, we did not have easy childhoods or easy parents or easy siblings or easy children. So many light workers. You know, I have one friend who, her children, and they're not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but they're all like magical little beings. And I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I was like, you guys are just like a magic family. Like the whole family's magic. The husband's magic. They're all super fucking magical. And when you see them together, they just have this beautiful, real, genuine, where I was like, man, I wish my family was like that growing up. You know what I mean? But when you look at both of them, the parents, and like they both went through a lot. They both went through a lot. Both of their parents are very, very muggle-like, or like the worst, where they're like, oh, I'm spiritual, but they're like yoga pants. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, that took a lot of work, and it still takes a lot of work for them to do that with their family every single day. But that's because their children are willing. It's hard to make your children do things that you want to do. And just because you awaken doesn't mean that your children will awaken. So it's, I don't know who that was for, but we have many people in this tribe and many parents in this tribe, but if it resonated, take it for what it is. But just know that you're doing a good job, and you did a good job, and you are a good parent. You know, this is just their path. The best you can do is just hold space for them while they're going through it. Okay. So it says when to manifest your magic. Okay. So let me get in here. The best time to work your magic is when the moon is in Leo on a Sunday, the sun's day, or during Leo's hour. I don't know what that is. Okay, so we'll have to see page 16. The last quarter moon in Leo takes place when the sun is in Scorpio and the moon is in Leo. It knows that life is made up for light and shade. Now listen. Since the new moon in Leo is months away, you can still do all of this. But you can also save it for this, like when the new moon is in Leo, like if you want to do that. But as you guys know, I don't, timetables are man-made. Even if the person who created this deck downloaded that information, she's just telling you, or they're telling you when it's the most potent. And here's, you know what, maybe I was thinking about doing something with this deck. Maybe I will, because I'm trying to get it in focus and it doesn't want to go into focus. Okay. So the planetary hours, you can go beyond planetary days and work with planetary hours, the system in which every moment of the day is ruled or governed by a particular planet. To work out the planetary hours for any given day, you need to calculate the length of time between sunrise and sunset, turn that number into minutes, and then divide it by 12. This is the length of each daytime planetary hour on that day. Note, they're not always 60-minute hours. To calculating nighttime planetary hours, repeat this process using the time between sunset and sunrise, okay? And then it says, the planet ruling the day of the week also rules the first hour of daylight on any given day. The planetary hours then cycle through in this Chaldean order: Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon, until the next day's sunrise. Then it all begins over again, starting with the planet that rules that day. See, I didn't know this. This is very interesting information. As this is quite complex, I've created a tutorial about using planetary hours for anyone who wants to delve deeper. You can find this at www.moonmessages.com/planetary hours. Okay, so now take a screenshot of that. You want to go work, maybe you're somebody who's getting into astrology. This could help all of us. There are also multiple web resources available to you. Work out the planetary hours for any given day. Just search for planetary hours calculator. As I said previously, any time is a good time to start manifesting, but if a matter is a really important one to you, you may want to boost your magical powers by manifesting on the, quote, right day or at the right time. So there you go. But I'm glad, because I saw that when I was looking at the deck when I opened it the other night. And actually, it's really funny because I opened it on Friday and it was a 13-day. I was like, oh, it's a 13-day on a Friday. Right? Wasn't it that? I think it was. Because I remember I was like, this is kind of interesting. Wait, hold on. Yes, because it was March 28th. And so March is a 3 and then 28 is 10. And then a 9, when you add it all together, it comes out to 13, which is also the number 4. Okay, so with that being said, let's go to the new moon in Gemini card and see what that has to say to us. It's on page 32, which 32 is also 5, change and transformation. Thanks for hanging in here with us so long today. This is a long one today, you guys. We haven't done a long one for the group in a minute. Okay, so think it through. Let me come down here so you can read with me. A positive outcome lies ahead. However, to take this opportunity from the ethers and make it real, you need a positive mindset. On some level, you already know how to get what you want. Use your smarts, think it through. Look for the signposts about what to do next. Ask, in quotes, what am I expecting? Focus on positive expectations. Expectations attract. If you're having doubts, talk to someone. Make a list of your goals. There's a way through. Use your mind and your words to help others see things your way. Now listen, we don't want to force anyone's free will. So you don't want to force anyone to see it your way, right? Like you can only tell them your observation of it and your experience with it. The rest is up to them. But I do love the question of what am I expecting and focusing on positive expectations, because I said something when I was frustrated after that happened with Alder. I was like, that's not really, I mean, it made me realize just like how ungrounded and untethered to a reality with me was, because I said, how do you go from 1 minute being excited about us picking up our entire lives and moving 8 hours away together to, or get your own place, like whatever. I'm open to, it's like, it didn't feel like a whatever, like I'm open to what spirit says. It felt more like okay, like whatever. And I said, maybe this is the reason why. I'm like, that's a very contrasting difference of going and spending our lives in a, like we would have been off grid it was like, I think 11 to 15 miles away from any major roads. And it was like like an old road. So, I mean, they're like, this is no joke. This is off grid. It takes a half an hour just to get to the main road from the house because it's like potholes and you know what I mean? This is no joke. This is somewhere where like we'd be living in the same house together. And I was like, how do you go from that to like, oh, go live on your own? And that's when I started to realize, I'm like, you know what? We're not getting it because we're not supposed to. And maybe not, forever, because I was like, I do think that he's going to come back. But that was for both of us to look at because I was ready to just be like, fuck this. I'm like, well, if you don't know, then I don't know either. And why should I care so much? And that's when Spirit said, because we chose to be here and we chose to be like leaders. We chose to be light workers. Like that's part of like our work here. Otherwise we'd be working in spirit. But if we're working in tandem in the third dimensional reality of the Muggle and we're working in the fifth dimensional reality of spirituality and like in the fourth dimension of straddling the two, then we need to know how to deal with our energy, handle our energy. That's why she's saying, yes, you can use these mantras at any time and these manifestations, but she's like, but this is when it's the peak time where, you may even want to look into your chart too and see like where your Leo placement is and where your Gemini placement is. Cause I feel like that is meant for somebody too. Like I know for me, like my moon, like my third decan of my moon is in Leo. So for me, I'm like, that could technically mean a lot of things. Also, before we move forward, I thought we should also look and see that the new moon in Gemini is on May 26th. So I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but so we will have the new moon in Gemini. Oh, it's on Memorial Day too, which is very interesting. So let's see what the manifesting focus is. Okay, it says, this card is an especially good sign for matters related to a flirtatious situation, anything written, an upset you've had, or a relationship that feels blocked. Oh, hello, I was just talking about mine. Are you guys having that too? So manifesting mindset, expressing whatever is on your mind is always a good idea, but this card also suggests you need to do some inner work and trust your intuition. Yeah, because I'll tell you what, I could be irritated or angry with him as much as I want to be, but you know what the truth is? It made me go into my shadow. It made me work more with my shit. And I thanked Alder's higher self for that, because when I was ready to give up, I was like crying and sad, and I went into this meditation with Spirit, and Alder's higher self came through and was like, my music started playing, don't give up on us, baby. We're still worth one more try, right? Because throat chakra, because when we're hurt and we're wounded or feeling fear, we don't speak from our heart, and our throat chakra is blocked. That's why I started to like cough and choke. When our heart chakra is blocked, everything else is blocked. So focus on your heart chakra over this next moon cycle, this new moon in Aries. Look at everything as a possibility. Look at everything as exciting, new, something different. Use the fire energy to get creative, to pry those, drapes open and shake off the dust and do a spring cleaning when you're ready, and allow the change to come in. Think it through, right? They're saying lighten up and think it through. So the manifesting mindset, I think that's interesting when they said expressing whatever is on your mind is always a good idea, but this card also suggests you need to do some inner work and trust your intuition. I've wanted to reach out to him so many times since I've seen him and talked to him about things, but you know what I ended up doing? A lot of times I'm like, I don't even know if this, you'll hear when I put the videos out where I'm like, I don't know if this is ever going to be seen by anybody. But sometimes it's good just to get it out and record it and then listen to it back. Because once you listen to things back, a lot of times it's like, okay. Because while I was doing this, what I thought was a reading for Alder was really a reading for both of us. And then I uploaded it to my channel because I was going to send it to Alder. And then I heard, no, leave it be. And I was like, okay. And they're like, when you're ready, listen to it back. And I knew what they meant instantly, because there was like 3 times I got pings during it where I was like, don't be so preachy. You know what I mean? Like, get off your fucking pulpit and like, this is you too. If we're blaming others for anything in our lives, that is a huge red flag for us to look at inward. So I feel like that message was for somebody. Okay, so manifesting tips for boosting your intuition. Call in Archangel Zadkiel, who is associated with compassion and forgiveness, to help you clear a past hurt that could otherwise block you. And always feel free to take a screenshot. And if you couldn't get a good screenshot, you can always message me and then I could put it up in the community section. I haven't been posting anything in the community section. I don't know why, but I'm just leaving it. Call in the energy of the planet Mercury, which guides Gemini. I was just talking about that. And Alder's a triple Gemini. I mean, come on. Close your eyes and meditate on your desire for at least 5 minutes. What comes up? And then write it down. Okay? So anything that comes up in that 5 minutes, write it down. And, you know, you may even want to time yourself, because you'd be surprised how long or how short 5 minutes can be, depending on where you're at in your psyche. So that's interesting. So it says your manifestation affirmation, our manifestation affirmation is, knowledge is powerful and I am powerful. When to manifest your magic. The ideal time to work your magic is when the moon is in Gemini on a Wednesday, Mercury's day, or during Mercury's hour. The new moon in Gemini takes place when the sun and the moon are on the same degree in Gemini, and know that it's good to talk. Okay. So also, you can do this affirmation on a Wednesday, you know, if you want to make it more powerful, that kind of thing. And calling in these energies to help us. Okay, Spirit, I don't think we are going to pull any more, but I always like to, you know, see if there's any more that they want to pull. Nope, that's it. Okay, thank you, Spirit. Do we have any more messages for our tribe right now? Okay, so blessed new moon in Aries. I wish you so much love and luck and abundance and good health and happiness and sunshine. But most of all, I wish you self-love and forgiveness. Unconditional love and forgiveness for yourself first. That is the only way that you can have unconditional love and forgiveness for others. Okay? So until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Love yourselves and each other. And look out for that shorts I'm going to do with this. I don't even know. I'm going to know after I'm done with this. And I'm going to be doing a pick a reading with this deck, but I'm not sure exactly when. But look out for it. All right. I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye.